There are 3 points about the King's visit to Golders Green that are of interest, I think. His visit was an act of solidarity at a moment of fear and grief. And Prince Harry's intervention on anti-Semitism matters far more than many people will admit. And Britain faces a dangerous moral confusion about protest, prejudice, and social cohesion. But the royal family has now entered that argument directly and in force. Firstly, the visit itself. King Charles III went to Golders Green after one of the darkest periods British Jews have experienced in years. Synagogues attacked, arson attempts, volunteer ambulances burned, a memorial wall targeted, and then the horrific stabbing attack on the 29th of April when 2 Jewish men were seriously injured in what police are treating as terrorism. The King met survivors, including the 76-year-old Moshe Shine, stabbed in the neck near a bus stop. Afterwards, Shine said something striking. He said, "The King wouldn't let go of my hand." And that image matters. An elderly Jewish man attacked on the streets of London, then comforted by the monarch of the United Kingdom. Symbolism matters in politics. Symbolism matters in national life. And monarchy, whatever criticisms people have of it, understands symbolism better than almost any other institution in Britain. The King also met Hatzolah ambulance volunteers, Shomrim security patrols, Jewish students, rabbis, and police officers. He spoke quietly but directly about anti-Semitism, and at one point he remarked, "It's a dangerous world, isn't it?" Frankly, he is right. Because something ugly has emerged in Britain over the past year. Jews increasingly feeling unsafe in places they have called home for generations. Children walking to schools protected by barriers and guards. University students describing anti-Semitism as normalized. That word should terrify people. Normalized. And yet Golders Green also revealed another Britain. Crowds cheering, "Long live the King," challah bread handed to the monarch outside a kosher bakery, Jewish traditions openly celebrated on British streets, a 100-year-old man joking with the King about birthday cards. Britain, at its best, has never depended on everyone being identical. Britain worked because different communities believed they belonged to a shared civic story. And the intervention by Prince Harry is politically and morally significant. Some people will dismiss him automatically because of celebrity culture, California, Netflix dramas, family disputes, or his past mistakes. But on this issue, he spoke with more nuance than much of Westminster. Harry warned of a deeply troubling rise in anti-Semitism and said remaining silent allows hate and extremism to flourish unchecked. He drew a distinction many people increasingly struggle to make. Criticism of a state is legitimate. Hatred of an entire people is not. And that distinction should not be controversial, yet somehow it's become controversial. Harry acknowledged the devastation of Gaza and Lebanon. He acknowledged the legitimate anger, legitimate protests, legitimate demands of accountability. But he warned that anger aimed at governments has too often become hostility aimed at Jewish neighbours in Britain. And he was careful with language. He repeatedly referred to the state rather than casually turning political criticism into ethnic hostility. He argued that the onus falls squarely on the state, not an entire people, and that is an important moral line. And it's only very specific parts of the state as well. He also did something politically rare. He admitted his own failures. He referenced his infamous Nazi costume scandal of 2005 and described his younger behavior as thoughtless actions. In modern public life, people almost never admit wrongdoing without qualification. They issue legalistic statements. Harry instead argued that his mistakes taught him why clarity matters. And frankly, there is irony here. A prince once condemned for wearing Nazi uniform is now warning Britain about the normalization of anti-Semitism. Some people will mock that. I think there is another interpretation. Sometimes people who have made public mistakes realize and recognize dangers earlier than others because they understand how prejudice mutates and spreads because they have felt it. And Harry didn't stop at anti-Semitism. He also condemned anti-Muslim hatred. That matters too, because the point is not competitive victimhood. The point is social cohesion. Once hatred becomes tribal and collective, like a disease, it spreads and everybody loses eventually. And finally, this entire episode reveals Britain's growing moral confusion. For decades, Britain prided itself on tolerance, restraint, and pluralism, yet increasingly public debate operates through absolutism. If somebody condemns anti-Semitism, they are accused of defending everything the Israeli government does. If someone criticizes Israeli military actions. They're accused of supporting terrorism. Nuance collapses, anger expands, social media accelerates all of it. Harry explicitly warned about this polarization. He said confusion and distortion fuel division, and he's right again. Because democratic societies require distinctions. Protest is not terrorism. Criticism is not racism. But equally, intimidation of Jewish communities is not activism. Firebombing synagogues is not solidarity. Chanting abuse at Jewish families in London is not humanitarianism. And the frightening part is how quickly people become desensitized. The Archbishop of Canterbury recently warned of an horrifying increase in anti-Semitic violence. Police have increased protection for Jewish communities. Counter-terror concerns now include Iranian-linked threats on British soil. Think about how extraordinary that sentence would have sounded 10 years ago. And yet, there was something reassuring about it this week. The King standing with victims, Prince William speaking about preserving truth in an age of Holocaust distortion, Prince Harry warning against prejudice and extremism. Whatever tensions exist inside the royal family, on this issue, the institution spoke with unusual moral clarity. The monarchy doesn't govern Britain, but sometimes it reflects Britain back to itself, and this week the reflection was uncomfortable. A frightened Jewish community, a divided public sphere, a country struggling to separate justice from hatred, but also volunteers protecting neighbours, religious communities standing together, crowds gathering peacefully. A monarch holding the hand of an injured old man and refusing to let go. That image, I think, will endure because of moments of fear. People remember gestures of humanity more than they remember speeches and slogans.